Hey everyone, Canada here. I'm just gonna do a quick little PTR balance review. These are just changes for the next patch. These are potential changes, so some of these things you see here might not go through or they might get adjusted. You can test it out for yourself through the Steam client. Don't ask me how, I've never done it, so you could ask others how to do that. But first, we'll get into it. We'll look at the new cards and the current state that they're in. So the first one is Denver, the Last King, and he is a Slither. It looks like a big T-Rex, honestly. He's mythic, 1000 HP, does 150 damage every 3 seconds. He throws an enemy into the air and they damage other enemies if they land on them. So that'll be interesting. That's gonna be a fun mechanic, I think. Could be broken, could not be. I don't know if that throw is AoE or not, but we'll see. I think it has the potential to be a very fun card and can be kind of cheesy, honestly. The next one is the Wogosar Pup. Not sure how to pronounce that, but here's it. 3 mana card, 350 HP. On play, it spits poison on a nearby enemy minion. I think it just applies a bit of poison, and otherwise it's just a little 3 mana tank. I'm not really sure what else it does. 350 HP, 30 damage every 1.5 seconds for 20 DPS. And it's melee only, ground. And then this guy was melee, ground, but he also throws. So we'll see how that works out. Now we'll just get into the balance changes. Armored Escort, shield count is going from 2 to 3. I haven't seen this card being played at all since this change. I don't know if adding one extra shield is going to make it viable because 3 shields for 2 mana and then mana freeze 4 gets you a Crystal Sentry, which isn't even really value. So I don't think this is going to bring it back into the meta. Caber Tosser, gain rage and gives enemies slow for revelry now. And rage affects Caber. I'm not sure what that means. Because the way they worded it is I don't think he gets his Caber back anymore. So he just gets range and gives enemies slow. This, I'm not sure what it means. We'll see how it turns out. Maybe it just affects the Caber Tosser, he gets rage. Cheese Date alternates between 3 and 4 mana Scrat cards now. No longer gives rage. If you have Scrat Swarm, which is 5 Scrats on the enemy side of the arena, it will gain rage. So it's basically a spell similar to Walking Blind Date for 3 and 4 mana, limited to Scrat cards. But if you have Scrat Swarm, you can get rage. And it gives the pool will be a bit better now, rather than just Jolo, Zeppelin Bomber, or Scrat Horde. Frostbearer Bearer instead casts Glenn's Brew, and he is slowed down. So he doesn't heal and give haste anymore, but now he gives Glenn's Brew. So that's going to be basically a, well, you'll see in the further down here, it'll give 175 heal now. So we'll see how that turns out. Future past and future present, going back to their original costs. I think that's a good thing. I think the random effect of the cards was an overall nerf where you got a new card every single play. Just because you got some really awkward hands sometimes, whereas at least when you're got the same thing over and over, you knew what you were going to get each cycle and you could prepare for it. But with the new thing every time, I don't think it was a good change. I still don't like it, but some people do. I don't know. It's more fun. It definitely is more fun. I wouldn't call it stronger though. Here we go, Glenn's Brew, 150 to 175 healing, which will go with the Frostberry Bearer, which is kind of nice. Haunting Hugger going up by 25 HP, but it no longer counts towards a Cursed Ascension. So when it kills something, it will not add to your Ascension. I think this is a silly nerf. It really helped a lot of Ascension decks hit Ascension, but whatever. Harmful Souls going back up to 80 damage per hit. So that'll be, it's for 5 hits. Yeah, 5 hits of 80, so that's 400, and then the extra 3. So it's kind of getting reverted, but it also, the extra souls that do not hit a target do not count towards Ascension. King Puff, perk 2, which is his buffs, I believe, that spawn on the map are going to 20 seconds, pickup range is going up, and the effective radius is going up. So I think that'll be good. King Puff's getting a lot of buffs. He still needs it, I think. But the good players are really good with him, especially once he hits perk 3. He has one of the strongest perk 3s in the game. Mount Shaper's kind of getting a rework. The hits are going from 5 to 10, damage down from 125 to 65. So I think overall that's the same amount of damage. 5 times 125 is... Nope, same damage. Fixed knockback, so it will always push backwards. Sometimes minions would get pushed forward and they would never get hit. Charge duration from 7 to 4, but now you can only hit half of the map instead of the entire thing. So I think that's good. Basically, it's just easier to charge, but only does half the radius, but the damage is staying the same, with potential for more hits. Because 10 hits, 1 hit removes a shield instead of 1 hit removes a shield for 5 versus 10, so it's a big buff. Nearvir's Breath, damage 130 to 150, deals no extra damage on a Curse Ascension, but gets 2 extra skeletons on Ascension. I think that's a huge nerf. I think that's a nerf. I don't think those 2 extra skeletons make up for the 130 lost damage. 110 lost damage in Ascension. I think that's silly. But we'll see how that goes. Wrecked, getting add 1 use Shadow Dance to the deck every 15 seconds. I think that's turning into a cycle then. Perk 2 is to reduce the perk 1 cooldown by 5 seconds, so that's every 10 seconds. That's insane. Whenever you play Shadow Dance, add a 1 use 1 punch blast to your hand. Cannot be stacked, so you can get 1 punch blast quite often. And 1 punch blast is discarded when illusion dies. So if you don't have any clones, I think you do not have 1 punch blast. So a clone has to be alive for it to be used. And it sounds like you cannot use it when you're on tower. And remove the 4+ mana basic attack, so you can't... Heavy decks won't benefit Wrecked anymore, but he's getting an overall higher attack speed by 25%. That's pretty good. Shield Captain Avia, rework, whenever Avia shields another minion, gain Legion. And the shield cooldown is going from 12 to 10 seconds. So I'm reading this as... I'm not 100% sure what this is meaning, but I think every time she gains a shield or gives a shield to a minion, a Legionnaire will spawn. That's my guess. I'm not sure. The wording isn't really good there. But it's no longer a quest. Skeleton Crew, 2 to 3 skeletons. Minor. Not going to do much. For 2 mana, that's still terrible until you hit Ascension, but 5 mana for 2 mana. 5 skeletons for 2 mana is okay. Zealot's getting a nice little buff. I don't know if that actually crosses any thresholds for one-shots. I'm not sure of many ground minions with 80 HP. Because spear throwers are still 90. We'll see though. Highland Huntress getting a DPS adjustment. I think this is overall a nerf for attack speeds going down by 0.3 seconds, but damage is going up by 5. So we'll see how that goes. Her obviously main thing is her strong attack that does 200 damage every 8 seconds. Rimagal's Breath down from 180 to 150. This should have been done a long time ago. This spell is absolutely bananas in 2v2 right now. Absolutely nuts. Morelia, Skeleton nerf from 4 to 3 at perk 1 and 8 to 6 at perk 2. I think that's great. Getting a free Skeleton Horde every 27 seconds it is now is nuts. But now that'll make it a little easier to deal with. And then Volko, his Rage from his perk 1 is going from 15 to 17 seconds, which I think is not enough, because getting a free Rage every 15 seconds is insane. And you could put it on multiple units at once if they cross the bridge at the same time. Anyway, these are just potential changes. Nothing set in stone. Nothing I'm upset with. I think everything is fair. I think the Haunting Hugger change is silly, because most people only put it in their deck for the reason of reaching Ascension, and it's a nice APEC perk, but like I think this is silly. Everything else I'm fine with. It's a good patch. We'll see what sticks. We'll see what doesn't. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we could talk about it. But until next time, I will see you later.